Track 10, Unit 3, Lesson 2, Activity D. Listen and read. Tara Atta has taken her exchange student, Emma Wood, out for a picnic in a quiet valley.
Those rock carvings must be ancient.
They are, and the Silk Road also came along here.
So Chinese silk travelled this way to Europe.
And the rich merchants carried lots of other goods. Imagine all their camels.
Yes, it must have been busy.
But listen, you must be getting hungry. Let's stop for lunch up by that cave.
What a great view!
Let's look inside. People may have lived here long ago.
I can't see anything unusual.
I can. Look, something rectangular.
It's an old metal box. It's falling to pieces.
We may be looking at something very old. It's full of metal. Coins.
Not all. This circular thing could be a gold ring.
It's ancient treasure. A rich merchant must have buried it.
You can't be serious.
Think. Travel was dangerous. There could have been an attack.
And he couldn't have lived through it because he didn't come back for his treasure.
Track 11, Unit 3, Lesson 5, Activity A. Listen and speak. Part 1.
Could you take a seat, please? The museum director will be with you very soon.
Sure.
Fine.
Here he comes now.
It's Tara Atta and Emma Wood, isn't it? Good morning. I'm Dr. Haval Shahzad.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for coming today. We've been working hard on the wonderful things you brought us 2 weeks ago, and your visit gives me the opportunity to show you everything we've been doing.
We're very interested to see that.
Well, come this way to our conservation laboratory. So, here we are. This is the laboratory. And as you can see, everything that you found is being carefully cleaned and studied. And later, you'll be pleased to know it's all going to be shown as the star attraction in a special exhibition about the Silk Road.
That's great news.
What have you been able to discover so far, Dr. Shahzad?
Well, as you might expect, we've found things here that are from many different places. Here are a few examples which we're already preparing for the exhibition. Part 2. Let's start with these precious stones.
They're beautiful. Where did they come from?
Stones like these were produced in India, and then they were often traded in China and in the West.
So our merchant may have been on his way west.
Maybe. And now, look at this piece of jewellery.
Oh, it's beautifully made.
Yes, and it's made of silver. We think it was made in Persia, which is Iran today. And just like the precious stones, this sort of jewellery was often taken to China and also to the West.
This type of thing must have been very expensive.
Oh, it was. And here's something else for a woman with money. A bottle, and in it there used to be perfume.
Where was it made?
Probably in Egypt.
Was glass something special in those days?
Yes, it was. The technique of glass making wasn't known in the East, so glass products like this were often sold in China.
I wonder how often they got broken on the way.
Good point. Well, now, here's one more thing for us to look at. A gold coin from China.
But why did this merchant have a Chinese coin when he was so far from China?
Oh, coins like these were used all along the Silk Road.
So did merchants use money to buy and sell the goods they were carrying?
They usually agreed a value for their goods and then exchanged them. But money was used sometimes too. Money like this and the many other coins that you found. Part 3. But we can say more about this coin. It's from the time of Kublai Khan, who was the Mongol Chinese emperor from 1279 to 1294.
Wasn't he the emperor when Marco Polo travelled to China?
That's right. And one more thing about this coin. It's the latest one we've found so far, and that tells us about the date your merchant buried his treasure.
Of course. It must have happened after Kublai Khan became emperor.
That's right. It couldn't have happened before about 1280. And so, you see, we already know a little more about the past, and it's all thanks to you. You two have saved a dramatic little piece of the past. And now it's the job of this museum to keep it safely for the future. Part 4. And we need to remember that the Silk Road was a very important part of the past. It helped to create the modern world, and that wasn't just because of the goods that people carried east and west. It was also because of the inventions, crafts, and techniques that they introduced from one culture to another, east to west and west to east.
I've heard that the Chinese invented fireworks.
Yes. They produced the chemicals that made them explode. That was an invention that travelled from east to west. But there were also inventions that went the other way. Remember that Egyptian perfume bottle? Well, glass-making was a craft that travelled from west to east.
But didn't the Chinese invent all sorts of things? Paper, for example.
Yes, paper-making was a secret they tried to keep. But after hundreds of years, the technique reached the Middle East and then Europe.
What about rug making? There are beautiful rugs in this part of the world, but there are beautiful Chinese rugs too. Did rug making go from east to west or from west to east?
From west to east. The Chinese learnt that craft from the people of the Middle East. But going the other way again, China gave the world printing. The Chinese were the first to produce printed books, and that was an extremely important invention.
I suppose it allowed new ideas and inventions to reach a lot more people.
That's right. And, of course, religions also travelled along the Silk Road.
Like Islam and Christianity?
Yes. Islam and Christianity both spread from the Middle East to many places farther east along the Silk Road, especially Islam. And so did Buddhism, which started in India but spread north to Tibet and then east to China and to most other parts of East Asia. Track 12, Unit 3, Lesson 6, Activity C, Pronunciation. Part 1.
Seat. Please. It's. Isn't. Things. Us. As. See. Is. Studied.
Part 2. 1.
Could you take a seat, please?
2.
It's Tara Atta and Emma Wood, isn't it?
3.
We've been working hard on the wonderful things you brought us.
4.
And as you can see, everything that you found is being carefully cleaned and studied.